Hello and welcome to another What Sold on eBay video. I'm your host Chris, the Thrift Shop Hustler. We're going to go over the top 10 high valued items sold in our charity eBay store in the month of June 2020. So we're going to go over some of the different items sold. And just a quick heads up, we're going to make another video because most of these high-end valued items are from our jewelry event. So this is pretty much going to be a bunch of jewelry. There are a few hard goods, but we're going to have a special video either coming out later today or tomorrow of just hard goods. So there would be non-jewelry stuff because there was a lot of high-end jewelry that sold at our event, and we appreciate that. I'm going to leave a link above to that event, and you can definitely go and check that out if you wish. But if you're new to the channel, definitely go down there, click the subscribe button, click the bell for notifications so you can get notified anytime a helpful What Sold on eBay video comes out. So without further ado, let's get into the top 10. So we're going to go from the top 10 all the way to the number one top selling item. Like I said, the majority of this stuff is going to be jewelry, so if you enjoy jewelry stuff, definitely go down there, click the like button. We appreciate everyone's support. We raised about $20,000 for cancer research and other things with the American Cancer Society, so we were very excited, and thank you for all those that ordered some pieces during that event. And it was a very fun event. It was a very interesting learning experience for myself. I knew a little bit about jewelry, but coming out of that event and pretty much helping to curate the whole thing, listing a lot of items. And huge shout out to Paula, Renelle, and Sheila in Stockton for coming together to help piece these listings together. Also, Deb and Eureka, we really appreciate that. Anyways, without further ado, let's get into the top 10. First up, we have this 14 karat abacus math calculator, Cufflinks. Yeah, we got all the keywords in there, definitely. This was 6.25 grams. By the way, there's a really nice gold calculator website, and I will try to remember to leave a link below. If I don't leave a link below, please hit up the comments below. It's a really good gold value link. You basically put in like the value, the weight, and what carat it is, and you'll get a good value and a good sense of what something's worth there. These sold for $193.49, as you can see here. They were small. They're cufflinks. Just remember that there are some cufflinks out there that are worth a lot of money because they're gold, solid gold. And sometimes people that sell these at estate sales and garage sales, you're gonna probably find these at garage sales because estate sale people, they pretty much know what they're doing for the most part. So finding this kind of stuff at an estate sale would be hard, but you never know. You can go through a rummage bin in a garage sale and find some cufflinks that someone thought maybe were gold tone. One tip about gold that I can get off right off the bat, pro tip for anyone that's like not sure and you don't have a magnet on you. And by the way, you should always have a high-powered magnet. I'll leave a link below. I should probably leave links to all my tools of the trade that I use. High-powered magnets, definitely something, because if the magnet sticks to this stuff, it's not pure gold. Pure gold's not magnetized, so is sterling silver. But anyways, sometimes when you go to garage sales, this stuff is thrown in like a junk drawer, and people just don't care to look. And sometimes you can find, a nice, pair of cufflinks for 50 cents or $1 that are solid gold. That could be upwards of hundreds of dollars. This one particular one sold for $193. And so definitely look out for that. Number 9 here, we got another 14 karat solid gold. This is multicolored hoop. This is from the 80s or the 90s. 6.27 grams, as you can see here. And for this one in particular, it was marked on the post. You'll notice that some earrings, they won't be marked or anything. And so sometimes there's going to be a microscopic mark on the post, and it's very hard to see if you don't have great eyes like myself. You would definitely need a jeweler's loupe or something to see that. But usually, I can see with the naked eye myself, not exactly what it is, but I can tell that there's a mark there. And it might look like a chew mark or something like a scratch or something, but it's actually a mark. And this one happens to say 14 karat. This was tested with our acid tester. I do highly suggest if you're into reselling any kind of jewelry, definitely get an acid tester. There's other testers out there on the markets, but I found that using the acid test is probably one of the better, more cost efficient ways. Now you're dealing with chemicals and all that kind of stuff, and I don't want to get into that, so I don't suggest it for everyone because you got to kind of, wear gloves and all that kind of stuff and know what you're doing. But I definitely suggest that, and maybe I'll leave a link to that below. I think I need to redo my whole description in the bottom there so I can show everyone some of the things that I use, that I mentioned in these programs that help me out, especially this jeweler's loop. As you can see here, this is a photo taken through a jeweler's loop with my iPhone. And, there's better ways to do this, I'm sure, but it's so quick and easy to just put your iPhone against the jeweler's loop to take the photo. A lot of sellers, or excuse me, a lot of buyers want to see this kind of information, especially I always have a shot when I'm dealing with solid gold to have a shot of the weight because people definitely want to, or potential buyers definitely want to see that for sure. Number 8, we have this 14 karat yellow gold ruby and pearl earrings. As you can see here, a nice beautiful set of earrings. And definitely there's a lot of kind of cultured pearls and lab manufactured pearls and fake pearls out there. I'm not an expert on pearls, but I know, usually raw pearls will be like not perfectly round. Sometimes they'll be a little misshaped and things like that. Usually some of the fake pearls will have they're plastic with a kind of like a really horrible coating, and sometimes they chip off and things like that. So if you want to know about real pearls, you have to go and find another video. Like I said, I'm not an expert on this. We did sell this for $249. It's a pretty good sale. And these are some dangle earrings. They say ruby. I'm not completely sure these are ruby. Let me see here. Those kind of look like a pinkish stone. Then again, I could be wrong. It could be the way the camera's looking on that for sure. And as we can see here, it's a pretty good sale. And a nice little pair of earrings here. Really cool. Next up, we have our first hard good item. I guess we call this hard hard goods. We got a legitimate Hedda Hopper owned hat. I didn't know about this particular celebrity. I guess she was, one of the, a really popular celebrity back in the day who was known for wearing these insane, crazy hats. So she was the hat lady pretty much. She owned a bunch of hats, and we happened to have, I think it was like a son-in-law or a lawyer of her, or there was some relation. Then there's the provenance right there down there. It was a nephew or something like that. Forgive me for not remembering. But anyways, I tried to get $1,200 for this because it's a piece of history. The provenance is pretty solid, and it came with like all this different memorabilia. There was even some family photos in here, and there's the personal note right there. I guess maybe it was a grandson, great aunt. So there you go. That's like a cousin or a nephew second removed or whatever. I don't know. But anyways, this is some of the personal effects. It was a very interesting lot, I will say. And some personal notes and things like that. Nothing signed by Hedda Hopper, so that was one of the things that I was looking for because that would have added a little bit more extra value to this. And actually, no, okay, no, never mind. So I think this photo was a copy of a photo right here, and there's another kind of photo here. A very interesting lot. So my pro tip for anyone that's listening or watching this video: if you ever have something that's very unique, always price it very high. We call it the high-low theory. Those that have been watching the videos for a couple years have heard me mention the high-low theory. And what that basically is you price very high, and then you can gradually drop the price down because you don't want to sell cheap and not realize the full potential of some of these one-of-a-kind items. So I try to get $1,200, and so I kept lowering and lowering it. We did take a best offer for around $250 on this, so I mean it wasn't like crazy money, especially for all the personal effects that were along with this item, but it just goes for to show about generational items. Hedda Hopper. I was born in the 80s, and I never heard of this lady, and our manager Mary knew who she was because Mary's from another generation. She grew up in another generation that people knew about this lady, and it would be like maybe like I don't want to, maybe Madonna. Maybe that's not a great example. Like a celebrity that was well known in the 80s. Maybe 50 years from now, maybe the kids growing up, 50 years from now won't even know. Maybe Madonna might be someone that might not even be known in 50 years from now. That's definitely a possibility, especially talking to different people about Hedna Hopper. She was a very well-known celebrity in the 50s. And anyways, I kind of gone on a little bit too much about this. We work out of Burbank, and so we see a lot of celebrity things here and there. So it's definitely cool to see something like this come in. But anyways, we did take a best offer for around $250. Someone got a great deal and an interesting piece of film history. Next up, we have this Michelle Releve. I don't know. I probably butchered that. This is a two-tone gold silver watch. As you can see here, we did take a best offer for $300 on this. This was another kind of thing that we priced kind of high at $499. And we did have a lot of lowball offers for this, but we ended up taking a best offer for around $300. This is a really nice watch, perfectly working order. Has a little bit of use wear, but not much. Still pretty much near mint condition. Had the box and everything. I've never heard of this brand before, Michelle. And so it's just maybe keep an eye out for this particular watch. Like I said, I've never heard of this brand before. And that's one of the nice things about reselling and working out of a thrift store is every day I learn something new about a new bolo or a new item that I've never even heard of. And, maybe one day I'll write a book, or do an ebook or something like that where I can alphabetize all my bolos so that they're easy to look up. But, that's a lot of work and everything. But, maybe I can do that in video form somehow. But anyways, like I said, look out for this kind of stuff. There's lots of different watch brands that I've never even heard of that are actually very high end. And so it's just, someone who doesn't buy watches, I'm totally out of loop. Maybe people have heard of this. And I think that's another great thing about reselling is everyone's got their different niches and stories. Not everyone knows everything, though for myself, I definitely try to learn about everything. It's kind of my business to learn about everything that I can as far as reselling and things of value. And I love to educate myself on different things when they come up. And this is one of the things that I never even heard of. But so look out for these Michelle watches. There were some pretty big bucks. Speaking of something I never even heard of, this is a vintage Matthew Norman brass Swiss carriage clock. And this is actually kind of a smaller clock. We did take a best offer for about 400 and something on this one, and it's actually kind of small, but it's a very well-made watch. And it had its key, as you can see here. This is what it looks like in the back. I think this one had some jewels to it too. And let's see here. Swiss made, Like I said, I've never heard of this brand before, Matthew Norman, but it's definitely another bolo brand to look out for, especially these vintage antique clocks. This thing in mint condition would have easily sold for between $600 and $800, but this thing had a little bit of use wear. It had a little bit of a chip in the glass here in the corner. That also affects it. Someone could come in and repair this and polish the brass to make this look really nice. But we weren't going to spend the time to do that. As you can see here, there is some tarnishing of the brass. It's definitely showing its age, but a nice polishing would really make this thing stand out. Even with the chip on the side right here of that glass, it really doesn't show too much. As you can see here, this is the part of the front. Matthew Norman. Just kind of keep this in the back of your head. Like, there's different types of mantle clocks, little tiny ones, that actually go for a pretty good amount of money. So definitely look out for those. Next up, we have this 14 Garrett. We have these 14 Garretts. We have these 14 karat gold cufflinks. This is a lapis charity. This is from Germany. These are more cufflinks that I'm talking about here. This one actually has the mark on the side, as you can see here. Germany, 14K. Lapis, that's the stone. 10.61 grams. That's what I use to kind of calculate the price, though I don't know how much the lapis is going to weigh. Solid gold, it's a lot easier to kind of judge the value as far as like, the intrinsic value of the gold. With the lapis in it, it's hard to determine, or any kind of stones or pearls, or it's kind of hard to say like get a base value. Jewelry's very weird. It's not like collectibles where you can pretty much do research and be able to find, lock down like, oh, this Beanie Baby is worth this much because it's sold for X amount in the past. Jewelry is a little different because you're dealing with precious metals, precious stones, jewels, and things like that. So it's a lot harder to kind of price things. But as long as you have a good baseline to work with, which I did here, and you know, I knew that it was worth around what we sold it for, as far as just if it was pure gold. So we did take a best offer for this. It was a little bit above $300, but it was a pretty good sale. And like I said, there's some pretty good 14 karat cufflinks out there. So anytime you're at a garage sale or a thrift store or anything like that, and you're able to look at some cufflinks, just flip them around and check them out. If a pair of cufflinks seem a little bit too heavy for what they are, gold's 20 times heavier than water. So gold, pure gold, 14 karat, 20 karat, 24 karat, 18 karat, it's gonna have some pretty good weight to it, and that's when like, oh, maybe it's something I should check into. And of course, use your magnets and all that kind of stuff. And leave a comment below if you've ever found 14 karat cufflinks. I'm sure I'm not gonna say sure everyone has, but I'm sure there's lots of people that have found gold cufflinks out there. And now hopefully you can, from watching this video, you have a little bit more confidence in kind of checking them out if you ever do come across them. There's a lot of gold tone cufflinks out there, especially there's a brand called Swag that is a vintage brand that I come across those cufflinks like all of the time. And if you look up Swag, let me like actually we're gonna take a little bit of a detour here, and I apologize for that. And I want to show you what I'm talking about. It's literally called Swag, or was it Schwank? Oh no, it's Schwank. Excuse me, Swag. I knew it was something like that. Schwank. As you can see here, I've literally come across these every week. There are some of them, they're not worth much, but there are some of them that are actually worth a decent amount of money, and I'll show you. Like, we'll go sort by the highest prices of individual ones. As we can see here, this one is $143. There's some sterling, of course. There's some Wedgwood ones, 79 bucks. There's some different ones in here, but I'm saying, like, sometimes you can find these for really good prices, but you'll have to do your research on these. Next up, we have this heart necklace. This is 10 karat gold. Had 1 carat, as you can see here, 1 carat worth of diamonds inside here. This sold for $650, as you can see here. Pretty hefty chain. If this was, 24 karat gold or 18 karat, 14 karat gold, this would have went for a crazy amount of money. But 10 karat gold is basically one of the weaker gold. And by the way, for those that don't know the difference between 10 karat and 24 karat, 24 karat is pretty much pure gold with no amalgamation, no alloys in it, different types of metal. When you go to 10K, there's like tin and copper and all kinds of other metals that strengthen it for jewelry. Because if you wore just 24 karat jewelry, gold, even though it's a very heavy metal, it's a very soft metal. So that's why a majority of gold is 14 karat, because they add different metals into it to strengthen it. And so if you didn't know that, which I didn't know, I had to, trust me, I didn't know any of this kind of stuff too. Just going into jewelry, taking a little bit of a deep dive and being like, asking a lot of questions. In reselling, ask questions, ask a ton of questions, even if they're to yourself, and just Google everything. What's amazing about Google is there's so much information out there to learn. There's a lot of great helpful videos. Ask people. If you're around people that know different things, definitely ask questions, and you'll learn a tremendous amount. So hopefully, someone that didn't know what the difference between 10 karat and 24 karat gold Now you know. We sold this for $650, a great sale, pretty good sale. Next up, we have this vintage Giard Paragu. I'm not even going to try. 14 karat pendant watch. As you can see here, it's like a little bit of a locket. And this thing had some pretty good weight to it. As you can see here, 13.63 grams. And the chain all hooked up all together. As you can see here, definitely something from the 50s or the 60s. I'm probably saying this is probably more of a 60s thing right here. As we can see here, 14 karat gold. What's nice for a lot of vintage jewelry is it's going to be marked. You know, antique gold is going to be another kind of sticky thing because sometimes a lot of antique jewelry is not marked. So it's one of the things where you're like, oh, this thing weighs a lot. Why is this? Wow, this kind of weighs a little bit odd for the size. And then that's when you kind of start to look into different things like that. Anyways, we sold this for $650. It's a pretty good sale, and lots of great sales, raising money for the American Cancer Society. A number one item here, a 14 karat chain rope chain. This is a 15.74 grams of 14 karat gold. A pretty good sale. This sold for $795. Once again, pure gold is going to always sell very well, especially if you can tell what the weight is and you can tell the purity. You'll be able to kind of lock down the intrinsic value, or the monetary value, I should say, of the gold. And so you'll know exactly what to price it at. Once again, I'm Chris, the Thrift Shop Hustler. Hope you enjoyed this video. We're going to come out with a hard goods version of this pretty soon, hopefully today or tomorrow, maybe even Friday or the weekend. So definitely go down there, click subscribe, click the bell for notifications so you get notified when that video comes up. I know everyone enjoys this video more than any of the videos that I make. They like to see the top 10 items that have sold for high valued dollars. So once again, I'm Chris, the Thrift Shop Hustler. I appreciate you tuning in. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below, and we'll see you next time. Take care.